Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us as in regards to Cohort 17 application for the 21st Century Grant. I am Alicia Alvis. I serve as one of the federal program specialists that works with the 21st Century Grant. But at this time, if you don't mind just placing your name as well as where you are going to be coming from as either as a school based or if you are on the LEA level or from someone outside with the business. If you'll just tell us how you're going to be connected or excuse me, how you're going to be connected and how you would like to join the 21st Century Grant, if you would at this time. We'll give you a few seconds to do that. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much for inputting that information. If you're just joining us, we're going to go ahead on and get started. Like I said, I'm Alicia Alvis. I serve from federal programs for the State Department of Education. One of the grants that I oversee or work heavily with is the 21st Century Grant. If you have not had the opportunity to just place your name in the chat room, as well as the organization which you represent that is interested in applying for the 21st Century Grant, will you please do so at this time? But we're going to go ahead on and move forward. Just to give you a little bit about my background, for those of you who may not have had opportunity to meet or have spoken with me, I have over 20-something years in education, but I've been working with the 21st Century Grant specifically now for almost 3 years. But my true boots on the ground with the 21st Century Grant has been when I was a building principal and I housed the 21st Century Grant in my building. And so I'll be able to assist from that perspective, as well as the workings of how to implement the 21st Century Grant. So I'm going to go ahead and let my colleague introduce herself, and as well as our main and important partner with the State Department of Education.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Rebecca Pines. I'm also at the State Department of Education, and I work with the 21st Century Grant as well as other grants within the Federal Programs Department. I'm here to provide you with any assistance that we can provide you with going on and trying to apply for this grant. I didn't have one in my building as Alicia did, so I don't have that firsthand experience, but I do have the knowledge of the 21st Century Grant, and I'm willing and able to share all of that information with you. So as soon as we roll out that application, you'll definitely know, and you can get started from there. But I'm going to turn it over now to our partner from TPI, Erica.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Erica Rucker. I'm 21st Century Program Coordinator at TPI at Auburn University. So I'm like the middleman between the State Department and the grantees. I also send out the Friday emails, and I will be the person that will send out the email when the RFA is finally released. So if you're not on my listserv, please send me an email, and I'll put my email address in the chat to make sure that everybody is on my listserv. Thanks.
Thank you, Erica. So she's going to go ahead and put her email address in the chat so that you all will have access to that, to have you to add her to her email announcements, because she will be one of our main, or their services will be one of the main providers to let the public know that the Cohort 17 application has been released. It has been sent for further review. It just has not been released. So I just want to let you know that. I'm quite sure a lot of you are anxious to know about that information. Once we get confirmation from up top that it's ready to be released, we will definitely let you all know immediately. The timeline usually for Cohort 17, we give our applicants 3 weeks to be able to apply. For those of you who are anxious to know maybe a little bit about what that cohort looked like from the previous application, there have been some changes, but not a whole lot. But if you're interested in wanting to know what it looks like, to just give yourself an idea, you're welcome to go on our website, and we'll input, if Rebecca doesn't mind inputting that in the chat, so that you'll know exactly where to find that application, to give you some ideas of what to expect when completing the application process. So just know that we'll be advertising it through our site. It'll be on our site. It'll also be shot through an email, as well as other public areas. I'm not sure exactly what those areas are, because their communication department above us makes that decision, but it's put out to all of the superintendents and any other public forums that work with any type of after-school program, to know that this grant is available. For those of you who have any questions regarding the process, you're welcome to do so and ask questions now. If not, I can give you a little bit of back and maybe create your thoughts thinking towards what are some things. If you want to go ahead and speak or just put a question in the chat box, that's fine. But right now we're going to go ahead and leave it open for you to go ahead and ask any questions. So while you're thinking, I'll just let you know this, that this is an after-school program that grant that operates when the school day is not operating. So if anyone is interested in applying, you can have the grant to provide services to students in the community that go to school after school, before school, weekends, holidays. Different entities have applied and have been awarded funds, such as a community-based organization, which could be like a Boys and Girls Club. We've had faith-based organizations to be interested. We've had, of course, local educational agencies, which we reference to as LEA. So that would be like Montgomery County public school system or any other public school system. One of the things we tell people to get their juices flowing and to really make sure that this is what you want to do is to reach out to begin thinking about partnerships, who is going to partner with you. So I'll speak from my behalf. When I actually held the grant, I was up under the public school system. So I partnered with a local university that was my partner. And so that partner was also a service to the public, which was the university. So if I was a private entity, then not only would I reach out to the local educational agency, but I will also want to reach out. You will also need to reach out to a public entity, such as United Way or someone else that will be willing to assist you with the flowing of the operations of the grant. Do note that you cannot be approved your application will not be approved unless you have a partner. And I'm going to ask Rebecca to talk a little bit more in details about partnerships and the advisory council, just to give you all an idea of those really main components in being able to hold the 21st Century Grant.
Okay, so with the partnerships are those organizations that are within your community that will provide you with different services or support to help you implement your program. That can be any type of support. It can be financial, it could be in kind, or if they just want to provide some volunteer help around the school while you're implementing your program. So it's important that you go out and try to seek partnerships, because those partners are also the members that, if you are not granted the granted the 21st Century Grant after this particular cycle, then those are the people that you would probably, or that you should reach out to help you sustain your program. The idea is for you to have the 21st Century Grant, but then also think about ways now on how you can sustain this if you do not have that 21st century money in the future. The advisory board or council are those members that are within the community. It needs to be a diverse group of people that you can seek to help you find different avenues to help you support not your organization, but to support your program. And what you do is you have to have an advisory council. And that council has to be, or you all have to meet with that council at least twice per year. And then during that time, that's the time for you to kind of give them an overview on how your program is going. But then also it's a time for them to provide you with any information that may assist you with implementing your program. And that will be, they could probably steer you in directions that you may not have thought about, as far as helping with funding of your program, or helping with different I guess, programs, because when you have your programs or your partners, those are some of the people that you will reach out to, and they will provide services. For instance, if you decide you want to do dance as a part of your program, the advisory council can possibly point you in the direction to someone that can provide you with that service. Or if you have a partner that does dance, that partner can be somebody that may say, okay, well, I know that you are limited with the amount of money that you have, so therefore we won't charge you as much. So they're there to assist you with making sure that you can provide the students with some rich activities, and something that will be different than just, paper and pencil. So we're looking for different things that can kind of excite the students about learning. And that's basically what we're using our partners for.
Thank you, Rebecca. One of the things we want to make sure you all know is that when you're applying for the application, it is electronical platform. And so a lot of times we tell people to create their application or put their application in Microsoft as well, just in case you time out while you are uploading your information. When you go onto the platform, let me go back. Once the application has been released, you'll also get a timeline of some things, such as when you can submit your letter of interest for the application. Doesn't mean that you necessarily have to apply, but you're just interested in it to give us an idea of how many people are wanting to apply for the grant. And then also, we also let you know when there's going to be training on how to use the platform for placing your information for the application. So that platform that we use is called EGAP 2.0. And with that platform, it is a public platform for you to be able to see any applications that have been awarded from public funds to federal funds. Whereas you can go in and see other applications and different things, but you go through this particular platform as well to do your application. And so when you go in, there's going to be a clock at the top right-hand side, and it's going to let you know how it's doing a countdown of how long you're on each page when it's about to expire. So we always, we kind of encourage our grantees to put their information in Microsoft and just kind of do a copy and paste We try to make sure though that the in the areas that you copy and paste into, that is not limited, is an unlimited amount, and you can put everything in there. But we just want to advise you on that, so that when you go in there, and if you walk away from your desk or the computer or whatever, or get caught up doing something else, and you come back thinking that it's going to be still sitting there, if you did not save it or move on to another page within the platform itself, you will have lost it. So we just want to make sure you know that as well. Any questions about any of the information that we have said?
I have a question. What is the name of the platform again?
EGAP is lowercase e, all acronyms, capital GAP, and then it's 2.0. And if Rebecca doesn't mind just putting in the site where you can just go in and just peruse through it. Now, where you go to what she's going to give you is just basically letting you see all the different applications that have been applied for and awarded from different districts across the state of Alabama, because that is open to the public. But that is also the platform where you will actually apply. Any other questions? And one of the things also we want to make sure that you all understand, if our timeline for 3 weeks runs across any holidays, we will give that into consideration and extend it, because we know that when you're on vacation, you want to be on vacation. And so we have taken that into consideration. But it is a 3-week timeline or more. Any other questions?
And I don't know if you mentioned this, Alicia, but as far as the grant is concerned, when you're putting it into EGAP, about the time date stamp.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So there is a time date stamp. Normally the application will be due by whatever the date is, but it'll be due by 11:59 on whatever that date is. If it comes in after that 11:59 p.m. Time, then your application will not be scored, and you will not be eligible for the grant. So when you do get that deadline, just make sure that you have everything entered prior to 11:59 on that due date.
Yes, thank you, Rebecca.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as the timing out, if you're on that site, if you're on EGAP 2.0, and if it's counting down, if you go to a different location within EGAP 2.0, the clock resets. So it's not like, it's going to count down after 60 minutes, it's going to just shut down completely. But if you go in and you go to just go to another section or another place within EGAP 2.0, the clock resets itself. So you have more than just that 60 minutes to input your data. It's just that you need to make sure that you're not idle for 60 minutes, because like I said, it can reset, or if you move around within the document or within the platform, you will be able to reset it and continue to work.
Another thing we want to make mention too is once you get your application, there's going to be different forms that's going to require signatures. Once you begin that process, please make sure you do not upload anything without current signatures and current dates. That will also put you at a area where you may not even be considered if signatures are missing, or if the date for the signatures are before the current application. So we just want to make sure that you all understand that as well. So you're gonna, it's gonna require signatures from your LEAs, superintendent, school principals, whatever that is. So kind of get in your mind. That's why we suggest, go ahead on and having conversations with who you're going to partner with, so that when they know that when that application becomes available, that it won't, those signatures that are needed on those different forms to upload into EGAP will not cause you to be late getting your information in because you're waiting on people's signatures, or you decide to just upload and make a note on there just saying signatures will be retrieved at a later date. You can't do that. We just want you all to know that beforehand, because it will put you at a in a situation where your application will not be reviewed without it. So just keep that in mind as well. Any other questions?
I have a question. This is Isaac Griffin from Huntsville College Preparatory School. Thank you guys for this opportunity to be a part of this webinar. Thank you so much. But when I was going through EGAP, so where would we actually find the application in EGAP? Like, what tab is it under?
Okay, I'm sorry. Currently, if you go into EGAP, let me see if I can share my screen. Hold on, let's go here.
And Rebecca, while you're doing it, I'm trying to remember if our if the company has released the tab yet.
No, I'm just going to show them one
Oh,
from
okay.
the previous
Yeah.
year. So when you go into EGAP 2.0, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so when you go to EGAP 2.0, you'll just click on EGAP 2.0. And this is what you will see. So right now it's asking, you don't have to have a sign-in, but what happens if you go over to this tab, ALSDE resources, and then when you click on that and you go down, to Title IV, Part B, 21st Century CCLC. Currently, the old RFA is located here. This is Cohort 15's, I'm sorry, Cohort 16's RFA. And then this is the training from the previous year. All of this information will be updated. So this is just some old information that's still listed. But once we get 17, it will replace all of this information here.
And in addition to that, you will get notification once you let us know that you're interested, and you'll be given a password and to be able to go into the site to upload your application, but the tab has not been placed there yet because the application has not been released yet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. How do we let you know that we're interested? Is that the letter?
Yes, the letter of intent will let us know, as well as when the information comes out from TPI or when Erica Rucker sends out that information, she'll have all that in the letter, as well as when we give it out to the public. So if you do not have the information, Ms. Clark, if you go in the chat, Erica has placed her email address there so that you can be on her list to get the announcement of when it's released, because it will go, she'll be one of our main communicators to communicate to the public that the Cohort 17 application is available.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So another question is, if anybody has thought about it, once your information has been uploaded and your application has been approved for the grant, you will have a minimum of $50,000 to $200,000 to be awarded through this grant. And depending upon the information that you placed in the grant, we will make the final determination as to how much will be awarded from this level. But of course, you want to plan accordingly to how much you think you should be awarded, and then all of that is taken in consideration. As far as looking at the applications, our level, we don't even open them up. We don't peruse through them at all. We have peer reviewers who are outside of our organization that goes in to look at the application, who do receive training prior to reviewing information, and then they submit their recommendations to us. And so that's how that process goes. But do know that we are hands off when it comes to making that decision in the point system based on those different components within the application.
And then some of the other questions that we have encountered are as far as the activities for 21st century. Those activities all have to take place either, I think Alicia mentioned this, either before school, after school, or during the summer. And then can the program offer only tutoring? No. Remember that I said that these this program is like, it's more of an enrichment. You can, I'm sorry, I stopped mid-sentence because I thought about the braiding piece. But yeah, it's really enrichment. It's a program where we have now the Literacy and the Numeracy Act, where we have to provide students that are not doing so well as far as math and the reading portion of the actual curriculum is concerned. But with those academic pieces that are being given in the morning, we can take the 21st century monies and kind of provide enrichments based upon the information that they're learning during the day as far as the math and the literacy piece is concerned. But also another strong focus that this program or the 21st century grant it's on the STEM or STEAM. So those are some of the things that you need to start looking at and see how you want to implement those within your program.
And just to add on to what Rebecca was talking about, I'll just speak from my end. When I had the program in my building, the second year that I had it, the district decided to do a initiative where they were addressing students who were on a certain level in reading and math. And so we were trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to keep that focused, because that's a requirement from the district, as well as continue with what we have with the 21st century grant. And so we came up with a wonderful idea, whereas our teachers work together from the 21st century grant, as well as those with the district that will be teaching those students in my building at the time. And we ended up allowing the district's requirements to handle the morning, and we didn't put all of our STEM and STEAM enrichment activities during the morning hours, so that everyone got all strictly academics, regardless if they were performing on grade level or above or below. And then we went right into the 21st century program in the afternoon. I mean, not afternoon, because usually I think at that time it was ending at 11 or 12. So those of you, if you have any conversations with any LEAs or local educational agencies when they're talking about what they're required to have summer school based on the ARP ESSER funds, which is the last year of it. And now we have the Literacy and the Numeracy Act that is now being implemented. We would welcome the opportunity to speak with you or anyone else on how we could braid those funds together to still be able to provide services through the 21st century grant and how that can work. And you can write to that. That's one of the benefits about the 21st century grant, is the fact that you can put your funds together to make it work. Any other questions? Another question we've spoken to in the past for 21st century has dealt with training of teachers, certified teachers and non-certified teachers, and volunteers, and student workers who are 18 or 21 or above that may not be certified. We do provide all types of trainings for all of that. We encourage student workers because that gives them an opportunity to give back into the community. However, they need to be 18 years of age or older. But if they're going to be left alone with students, they have to be 21. So if you have any student workers from high school or even college level, when I had that in my building and that turned out to be a really big success, we made sure that they were trained. And then if they were 18, they worked as a teacher's assistant. They could not be left alone with students. If they were 21 or older, even to the point where we even pay university students to come over and do their intern at my particular school, based on they had a work schedule that would not allow them to be able to do their intern if they were educators from, the time of 8 to 3. And we worked it out through the College of Education at that university, where those students were able to come in during the after school hours, and even during the school day if need be, in order to meet those hours of observation or intern hours. So there's a lot of creativity that you could do with it, but I just wanted to, get your juices flowing, just thinking about some things about how you truly can reach out to the community besides just your students or just your teachers. Teachers from that we prefer certified teachers, but if that is not going to be the case, this grant does not require that they be certified.
Okay, I
Any
have a
other-
question.
Okay.
We have just started our STEM lab, and we were starting a robotics team this school year, and we've lost some funding, and we've lost our STEM teacher. And we want to do an after-school robotics team where they go to robotics competitions. With this grant, could you include funding for that STEM teacher in that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's one of the main things that we really encourage, and we've got several success stories in our state that actually do just that.
Awesome. We've just started, and we've recently purchased some VR equipment and some drones and some different things like that. But we really want to start a robotics team to go and compete at the elementary level. But like I said, we've lost our funding, so that's really what we're looking for.
Okay, great. I always tell everybody, put it in that application. That's your proposal of things that you want to do. And once it's in the application, it gets approved, you can move forward. But yeah, that's an excellent idea. Any other questions? One more question I recall receiving is if you have a regular school day teacher from 8 to 3 and they want to serve in the after school program, can they? Yes, they can. Just have to make sure that when they begin working in the after school program, that their contract has ended with the school system so that it doesn't appear to be double dipping, being paid from the same funds while still two different funds while working, having not completed the first contract. So if your time is from 7:30 to 3:30 and your after school program begins at 3:30, then yes, they can work in the after school program. I strongly, suggest encouraging that and even being creative in how that can work so that your teachers that work from 8 to 3 do not get burned out in your 21st century program. So getting as many teachers as you can where they only work certain days during the week and really reaching out and getting those partnerships that Rebecca referenced to earlier that will provide your creative arts, your enrichment activities, so that those teachers will be there to just kind of assist, but not necessarily have to do the actual working of that. So you can be very creative in how you can provide your services to your students. We have any other questions? See, one other question I remember too, I'm looking at my notes from the past. So what if you have a building and you want to build a building just for 21st century? Is that permissible? No, this grant does not allow capital improvements or buildings. So please take that into consideration when you are looking at doing the 21st century grant. Can you use grant money for student scholarships, tuition, or stipends? These funds cannot be used for student scholarships, tuition, or stipends. Can a 21st century program collect program income? Can you raise funds or charge a program fee? The answer to all of that is that Alabama does not allow program income when it comes to this particular grant. If a district has their own bus, can you use grant funds to pay for the fuel and bus driver? Yes, for students participating only in the after-school program, the grant funds can be used to not only pay for the fuel costs for transporting students home, but you can also be used to pay for the bus driver's compensation. But yes, you can include this in the grant. Trying to think of some other questions. Can 21st century funds be used to purchase snacks or food for students to eat? No, you cannot use federal funds to purchase food or snacks or anything, any beverages to include water. What we strongly suggest is when you build your partnership with your local educational agency, get with the child nutrition program to see about how you can write them into your grant to be able to provide food or snacks to the students whom you're going to serve. Or if that doesn't work, then you can look at a partner who will help you with providing the funds to be able to provide the food, snacks. There are some who have done that very well, and their students get dinner as well as a snack. Some who provide the 21st century program on Saturdays. Their CNP, their child nutrition program, provides breakfast for those students to come and a snack. So it just depends on how you want to serve, but we want to make sure that you understand that you cannot use this particular grant for foods or snack or beverages. Also, please note that, let's see, there was a question that just went, I guess it'll come back. I was looking at my list. Are there any other questions?
Alicia, I'm sorry, I want to go back to the question. I just remembered getting an email in reference to the robotics team. There was a question about an allowable expense, and the question is, this site had a robotics team and they plan to begin competing in the first Lego League competition. And they wanted to know if the 21st century funds were able to utilize the funds be utilized for registration fees and team expenses. Now, you can have all of this at the school, but it says, unfortunately, the grant does not allow for payment of these expenses, which means that you can't pay for the registration. You can't pay for the registration fees, and you can't pay for the team expenses to travel to those competitions. However, you can have those trainings and whatnot at the school, but the 21st century funds cannot be used to pay for the registration fees or the team expenses to get there. And one of the suggested, this is where your partners can come into play, where if you need those funds in order to pay for those registration fees and the team expenses to get there, then that's where you reach out to your partners to assist you with getting them to help you with those fees, those registration fees and the team expenses to get to those competitions.
We have a comment from Tani, who says we are cohort 16. So she's currently housing or implementing the 21st century grant. And she says, we just had a partner to donate all snacks for our summer program. Our partners are very important to our rural area. We are very fortunate to have our wonderful partners. So thank you, Tanya. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I'm not, I'm sorry for giving that comment, because it's what I have learned is that most of the time when people see you in the community wanting to give back and they hear your vision and they see how it's going to impact not just the students, but the community as well. I know I have been just amazed at the number of ways that people can be creative. That's why it's so important to get some good partners on board that'll help you get those creative juices going, because you're not going to be able to think of it all. I know I wasn't able to. And once we all sat down and people were like, oh, I know this person who can do this. And, you know, it just really worked out. And so thank you for sharing, Tanya, with that information, because people are willing to assist once they know, you know, how it's going to work and benefit the community and where they're serving. Any other questions? All right, well, Erica, Rebecca, can you all think of anything else to say? I don't want to close out. I want to make sure, because this is our last one, everyone. This is our last one.
Did we mention the, what is it called? UEI numbers?
No,
That
we did
replace
not.
the
Go
DUNS
ahead.
number. So if you are not an LEA, you need to have I don't know if you have to have it as an LEA, but I know as a CBO, we used to have it. So you used to have a DUNS number to receive federal funds. So DUNS numbers have been replaced by UEIs. And so that number is available on the SAMS website, I believe. SAM, it's really called SAMS, just not Sam's Club. But it's a federal entity that says that you're okay and you've done all the stuff to make sure that you have an EIN and all of that to receive. It used to be a DUNS number and now it's a UEI. So that's something that's going to be mandatory for cohort 17. It's mandatory if you have federal funds, period. So have that number ready when you apply for the grant. And if you are a current cohort 15 and 16, you'll have to provide that number also. So, and that'll be in my Friday email, because I need to figure out who we're sending it to or where you're putting it. But just FYI.
Is there any way you can put that in the chat for those who may not have it, Erica? Thank you. Very good. I hadn't even thought about that. Very good. That in my notes for next time. Well, this is our last office hours, you all. We thank you so much for coming. Please look at the information that Erica just mentioned and take note of that. It's called the UEI that is required. So to receive federal funds, can't even apply without it. So we need to make sure that you know information about that. But if you have any questions, if you'd like to be on the our mailing list for announcements, especially concerning cohort 17's release, Erica is that person. She's put her email address in there. All you do is just send her an email and she will add you to her contact list, and you will be a part of the announcements of anything that's going on and as it pertains to the cohort 17 or any other information, because she does Friday emails. All right, you all. Well, thank you so much for attending. And if we can be of any assistance, please let us know. And as soon as we hear about the release date of cohort 17, trust me, you all will know as soon as we know. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, Annette is coming on now, so we're going to let her just speak. She's our administrator. So as soon as she gets on, she'll just introduce herself and then we will close out. Annette, we are at Annette. We're at the end of the office hours, so we were just giving you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Annette Scoggin. I'm the education administrator, but just part of the great team that you've already met between Alicia, Rebecca, and Erica. We're here to facilitate you, and I'm sure you had a good session today, but if you need anything between now and when the RFA is released, just get in touch with us, pay attention to the 21st Century website, is the main thing. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, Erica, and thank you all for joining us on today.
All right. Have a good day.
All right.